So welcome to the Grabbing the Brisket podcast. I love the new intro, right? I mean, you guys hear it,
it's
right?
There, yeah.
It's there. It's so
It's bopping. It's good.
It
Did
is.
I say bopping?
I think you did
Bopping.
say bopping.
That's
Wow.
weird. I shouldn't have said that.
Are the kids saying that
God,
nowadays?
I shouldn't have said that. It's man, I screwed that up.
What was that toy
We should
back in the
redo this.
90s or whatever? Was it called the Bop It or something like that? Where
Bop
you
It.
like
Oh,
yeah.
twist it, turn
slap it.
bop it.
Bop it.
Oh, that's horrible, Jan.
God,
You're never going to live that down.
Just bop
So,
it.
hey, we're going to go right into. So today we have a special guest with Texas BBQ Society, and that's Seth Rodrigue.
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 Rodrigue. Yeah.
I know I'm going to ask him when he comes up.
Yeah.
And Sean Larkin with Texas BBQ Society. They also are
AKA
a competition team, the Dirty Underwear Gang. And we'll get into why they were called the Dirty Underwear Gang. So
Yeah.
Yeah,
pretty
I have
funny.
questions for sure.
We definitely have a lot of questions. So we're not going to waste any time. Let's get right into it. Hey, guys, this is James from Grabbing the Brisket. So today we're joined with a couple of gentlemen from the Texas BBQ Society. I have Seth Rodrigue and Sean Larkin. So these guys created a new, I guess, sanctioning body over competition barbecue. Am I getting that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
That is correct.
So you, of course.
Well, they're not just listen. Hold on, let's not dismiss this. This is not just two guys that went out and created this barbecue
That is
society.
correct. That is correct.
These are competition cook guys that have been doing this for many years. That basically don't slide past
Get
the
his
fact
ass,
that these
Jan.
guys are out
Get his ass, Jan.
competing on a weekend basis and kicking ass, right, guys?
Yeah.
There it is. Right.
That's the goal.
Yeah, and congratulations on last weekend's Reserve Grand Champion. I saw as we're trying to get things figured out here, the big Chet rolling past the screen. So that's
Happy
freaking
Gilmore.
fantastic.
Finally got a big check. We've been waiting all the time for a big check.
Was it everything you'd hope it'd be and more?
Yes.
It always
That
is.
is awesome.
It always is. Yeah. Y'all kind of got together, and if you don't mind, kind of go through that because y'all have been IBCA cookers, right? In this region and traveling, I'm sure. But y'all have done predominantly an IBCA cook. Is that correct?
You or me, Seth?
Yeah. I'll go ahead. Yeah. That's we are predominantly IBCA cooks.
Okay. And then
We've done a few KCBS like the Royal and a few other.
Star, we done, BCA, but predominantly IBCA.
Okay. So y'all kind of got together and then started really kind of figuring out like, hey, this is what I really like about this type of competition. And then I'm assuming by doing some of the KCBS cook-offs, y'all like, hey, you know what? I really like this about this sanctioning body. I like this about this sanctioning body. And then, yeah, you want to kind of go in how did that kind of transpire and whatever else?
It goes back to about July when everything started getting shut down and we just wanted to cook. So, there was some picnics going on and there were still a couple Lone Star events. We did a couple BCAs while they were shut down. And then, in August, we were just like we wanted to have a cook-off. So we invited, 20 teams out and we put together a little system, based on what all the cooks said they liked about different sanctioning bodies. And we held it. It ended up being 14 teams there, and we held it, and it went off without a hitch. It was single table with, tenderness, taste, and appearance, all, getting each individual scores, lowest score being dropped out. And we just got really positive feedback from that. And we weren't really trying to go into a sanctioning body at that point in time either, but then we cooked a couple BCA events after that. And then we just kind of realized that there's really no options in Texas. I mean, yes, there's different sanctioning bodies in Texas, but they're all kind of the same. So we thought it might be a good idea just to give Texas cooks a different option and a different way to get judged while they're at events. So that's kind of, how this whole thing started.
I have not seen everything on what y'all have done as far as some of the different changes and whatever else, but I can go back to the Go Fiesta Day, Frontier Day. What was it? Yeah, Frontier Day. That we did a cook-off. It's probably 10 plus years ago out at U of H. Right, it was right around U of H campus. I don't know if y'all ever done that one or not.
Frontier Fiesta.
Yeah, Frontier Fiesta. And I'm not sure what the sanctioning body was for that, but it was such a sham of a show. And there's probably close to 100, 160 cooks, 150. I mean, there's a bunch of cooks out there. And when they gave the results back, they gave first, second, and third for all categories, and that was it. And it was, you seem like you worked your butt off for I don't know how many days, 4 days, and then just to know that you didn't place in the top 3 was like, to me, I was like, what did we get? Fourth? I guess we got fourth, right?
No clue where you played.
Yeah, always.
So, and I think that's something that the KCBS does, that they'll give you feedback. They'll tell you your scoring and everything else. Is that something that y'all are doing?
Yeah, it's transparency is basically what you want to know. You kind of want to know where you sat and what you were lacking and everything. So at the end of every competition, you get back not only comment cards, you get back every single score that was put on those comment cards. So you have a comment card and a scorecard put together. They're all stapled together. So you'll have 6 scorecards for each category, and then you'll get a spreadsheet back at the end that has your total scores as they're put into the multiplier. Right then and there, everybody's auditing the system because they have their cards along with what was entered into the computer. So it's transparency, if that kind of answers your question.
It
and
does.
just know what you were lacking on. If it was tenderness or if it was appearance that really hurt you, then at least you know what you need to go work on for the next cook-off.
For sure, man. And I think that's awesome. There's probably some people out there that don't want to know they were last, but, some people need to know that because they keep doing the same things. And maybe they're thinking, like you guys were talking about a while ago, like, well, if they're calling 10, I must have got 11, when in fact they're probably 95th or whatever. And sometimes you need to know that. So you need to change up what you're doing, and I think it's beneficial for everybody, from the top to the bottom, dude.
Yeah, and if you're consistent, let's just say you finished 11th in every category, there's a pretty doggone good chance that you're going to be grand champion. You're not going to be left out.
That's right.
It rewards consistent cooks across the board, not just someone that won brisket.
Nice. Yeah, we actually had some friends cook out there with y'all this weekend.
Yeah. Former team that we're on, Chasing More Smoke.
Yep, Chasing More Smoke was out there. And those guys competed. And then Ice Cold Cooker, they were out there. I don't know if you saw them or not. They didn't get the calls this weekend, I heard. But is that something that y'all are pretty used to? Are y'all used to getting in the winner's circle or getting in those calls, or is that something that y'all just kind of get lucky with, or what?
Well, you never get used to it. Let's put it that way. I mean, it's always fun and it's always good. I would say we get our numbers or names called more than we don't, at least in one category, right? We have a few grand champions. We've actually won that Hold'em and Hit'em 2 years prior. This is our second time to reserve it in the last 4 years. So, and that's a pretty good one we've been chasing for a long time. And kind of to go back, that's actually a good question. Last year at Danny Dietz, which is a pretty big cook-off around here, we were the only team to get 3 walks out of 150, and we didn't even place in the top 10 overall. So that was another kind of reasoning why we decided to say, hey, man, we need to do something different. We need to get something different out there, right? Because this is a 150 team cook-off. We got 3 walks. Nobody else did, and we didn't place top 10.
Yeah, that's not right.
And, and we worked our ass off for that. I mean, we had a great cook, and we're happy with all the walks we got, but, somebody else walked home with our drum smoker.
I really appreciate the fact that, I've never cooked in the KCBS category, and I kind of think it's kind of the same a little bit, and I'm not sure if I'm wrong. Please let me know, but it's kind of similar to what they do as far as the scoring. Is that correct?
Sure.
Scoring is very similar, except we're just going to be a meat contest. You're not allowed to garnish, and we also do half chickens instead of chicken pieces. We wanted to stick to the Texas roots. We think the hardest thing in the cook is a half chicken, and we wanted to keep that true.
I could not agree more.
So what meats are we still sticking with? The brisket ribs and then the
that
chickens?
kind of brings us to our next Pivot story is we were ready to roll out January 1st with this sanctioning body, and we heard a rumor about Fred and Roddy creating something. We reached out to them. It didn't work.
They reached out to us.
Then they reached back out to us, and then we really started seeing that we both had the same goals, and we really just wanted to make cooks for the cooks and for the promoters, and just give Texas cooks an option. And we thought it was a great fit, so we decided to go ahead and merge with the CBA. And that, for people that don't know us, Champions BBQ Alliance. It's rolling out really pretty soon here. I'd say no later than March 1st. We'll be live running real events. We've already got one test run underneath our belt from last weekend. There's another one scheduled for in a couple weeks, and then a third and a couple weeks after that, just to solidify the system, make sure there's no bugs and everything. But it's going to be cutting edge. And to go back to your question, we are now going to be 4 meats. We're bringing pork to Texas.
Okay.
The reasoning for that was when you do win a lot of competitions in here in Houston and you want to go compete at the Royal or the Jack, us Texas cooks are way behind the 8 ball because we don't cook pork. So we wanted to catch up with the times and make that a standard meat for our cooking and sanctioning body. So it'll be chicken, half chicken, ribs, pork, and brisket turned in that order.
Okay, so you're still doing the ribs, and the pork will be like a pork butt.
Yes.
Okay, and then is that I guess that's a pulled pork that you're putting
or is that an option?
Or is that
Well, it's you can however you want to put in the box.
Yeah.
Whatever you want to put in there, whether pulled, money muscle, tubes, bacon, any piece of that pork butt you want to put in there, and however you want to put it in there, we're not going to hinder you on that, if you so to speak. Same thing with brisket, same thing with ribs, same thing with chicken. You could put it in the box however you want, just no garnish. So we're trying to also let the cooks be creative, get their creative juices flowing, kind of thing, with how you put your meat in your box and stuff. Where IBCA says you got to go with the hinge and this and that.
Right.
If you don't, that looks good, and you want to, put it in some other way, feel free. I want to add on to what Sean said about the CBA. We thought long and hard about joining and merging with these guys, because of what we had. We gained a lot of momentum, and it just made sense. I mean, you guys know who Fred Robles is. You guys know who Roddy Trevino is, and everybody else that's part of the organization starting it up is just heavy hitters, all in Texas barbecue. And in all honesty, the Champions BBQ Alliance is going to change the game in Texas and compete with KCBS fairly quickly across the nation. It's exciting times.
Is that going to be regional? Or are we going to have different regions like IBCA, or is it just all of Texas for right now?
To start off with, it's going to be regional.
Okay.
Because it's going to grow a lot quicker in Texas than it will outside of Texas. Not saying that we don't already have events lined up outside of Texas, but we're probably planning on at least 35 events this first year just in Texas, and then I think we already have about 6 or 7 outside the state. So once those numbers starts balancing out, then it might start being just states versus states, but more than likely Texas will be regions for the foreseeable future.
Okay.
One quick question: the judging. How does the judging work? As far as, do we have like certified judges, or is it something that we're getting volunteers and having them?
I'll take it, Sean.
All right.
No, it's going to be like the IBCA judging, where you have guys off the street, so to speak. One thing we thought about
I'm going to take that back. It's not going to be like IBCA judging.
Well,
it's going to be amateur judging,
right?
Which IBCA uses, but the actual what happens inside the judging room will be.
Well, that's what I was getting to. We don't think having certified judges. I mean, who's to tell somebody what good barbecue is? We want people to eat your barbecue and let them judge it. So what we're going to have in the judging room is technology. We're going to have, it's all going to be digital. There's going to be no paper. You're going to get comment cards like we had in the Texas BBQ Society. So it is cutting edge what is happening in the judging room, what we're doing. But to answer your question, the judges will not be quote unquote certified like KCBS. We will have event coordinators that are certified to run judging rooms and stuff like that, and will guide our judges. But I think you're going to really like it when you cook one.
I actually love the idea because, to tell somebody like what your barbecue, this is what you're looking for, right? And then you're kind of taking that out. And to be honest with you, I mean, people know what they like anyways, right? So
that's right.
You're just there to help guide, like, these are the parameters that we're looking for, right? Here's the information that you have in front of you. And then look, eat the barbecue. What do you think about it? I love that idea. Like, I think that's... go ahead.
When I did it, I ran the judging room for Texas BBQ Society a few times, and the only real guideline I gave was, if you think the chicken is raw, let me know.
Yeah.
And other than that, whatever you like, But if you think chicken's raw, that's all I need to know. I'm not going to tell you really anything else about what meat should look like or taste like.
Right. Which, by the way, like, if you've never judged for IBCA, and there's two things here. If you're cooking and you're not trying to go out and judge in a category and just take a back seat to that and judge and see what's going on, you're doing yourself not a favor in that, right? So
you're not going to learn. You're not going to grow as a team.
That's how you get better. And then two, IBCA, I've judged this a few times, and just because you want to get better, and then to have a judge tell me, like, you cannot spit the meat out, and you cannot, like, once you take a bite of it or cut into it or whatever else, you have to eat it. That's disgusting. I've had some horrible bites in my life doing this.
Yeah, I hope it wasn't ours.
No, it was not yours. Hey, I'm actually kind of curious, man. So you're introducing the fourth meat. How does the turn-in times change at that point? I mean, the turn-in increments, they have to change at some point, right?
It's going to be quicker. We're going to be doing hour turn-ins up to, I believe, 100 teams. And the reason for that is we're not going to have round after round of judging. It's single table with one final table. So everything goes to one table, and then if you make the top 10 after that, it goes to a final table for some additional points to be added to your score to see whose box was the best. So I mean, once your box gets in there, we're going to have basically it's either going to be it's going to be a 10-minute total window to get your turn-ins in. Whether it's going to be 5 before and 5 after, or just 10 after, that's still
10 before, Sean.
Determined. What?
10 before is what we decided on.
No, we're not doing that. And then
love it.
Yeah,
love
I don't know.
No, we're not doing that.
Okay.
Well,
He's on the board.
I lost track there.
Sorry.
I mean, that's something that's going to be challenging in itself, right?
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I said that's something that's going to be challenging in itself, like as far as like the window times coming shorter and shorter. I mean, for some of that's used to
we'll be done in 20 minutes, with judges. Once the meats get turned in,
that's going to be that's going to be freaking awesome, because I mean, there's plenty of cook-offs where we waited around till 7:00 at night just waiting for the tallying and just waiting, and you're like, you've already gassed yourself from like all day Friday, Saturday, just please let this be over with. Let's get going.
For instance, if brisket, more than likely turn-in is going to be 2:00, we should have everything tallied up by 2:30. And our goal is so promoters can have awards as early as 4 p.m. So the teams that do travel and do want to leave Saturday, they can hit the road by 5:30 and, get back to their families.
I see the logic behind that, and that's actually awesome, because we were talking to Lucky Charms guy,
Phil Breeden.
And he's saying how much he's on the road, all the time, and he just wants to get back to his family, and that this kind of system fits him perfectly, because he just wants to go in there, cook, and get out of there, and get back home. I think that's awesome, man.
Yeah, but can you? So really and truthfully, what you're doing is it's a nonstop cooking for. So think about this for a second. So let's say brisket is your last final meat you're turning in, which let's say it's 2:00, right? For the last 4 hours, you've been grinding, but not really. Probably the last 6 hours, you've been grinding to get your boxes ready to turn in, right? So you're just basically working your ass off for 6 hours, and then all of a sudden you're done.
Yeah.
You get it?
You think about IBCA. I mean, once noon rolls around, you kind of get busy, and then there's like a 30-minute break,
right?
And then you get for an hour and a half turn on, then you get back up and do your thing. But with an hour turn in, I mean, I think it's really perfect. We've done a couple cook-offs under Texas BBQ Society with an hour, and basically what it does is you turn in one meat, you clean the dishes up for that meat, and then you start prepping the next meat, and then it really just makes the event go by very quick. And there's still plenty of time for you to do everything that you need to your meat.
I love it.
ACBS, on the other hand, that 30-minute turn in, that's wild stuff there. That stuff is crazy up there.
So that's how it is in KCBS, right? So it's every 30 minutes?
30 minutes.
Yep.
Holy moly.
Dude, how can one person
times,
couldn't do that, right?
No, that's why you got to have more than one person team, right? You've got to be.
I mean, you have to have a runner at that. I mean, hell, we go to the Royal and you're far away. By the time you're walking back after the first box turn in, the second box is ready to go back, and it's quick.
Oh, wow.
We batted around the idea of 45 minutes, but on our test cook this past weekend, all the cooks said we love hour. We love the hour. Let's just keep it at an hour.
Nice.
So that's going to probably be more than likely, that's set in stone now. It goes by fast.
I love that. I think that would benefit me and a lot of us because you don't get that lull. You don't get that, let me just sit in this chair for a minute
and get drunk.
Maybe
That's right, and drink 6 beers.
Yeah.
Drink 6 beers in between.
All of a sudden look up and go, oh, shit, I got to get the ribs going. Oh, man, dang it.
No.
Sometimes that washer game goes into overtime. And
for sure. Yeah, for sure.
Ribs.
That's awesome, man. Now we love the direction, man. It sounds awesome, dude. And we're signing up pretty quick to be in one of them. I don't know which one the first one we're going to do is, but we're going to do one.
Yeah, why not?
So where are y'all out of?
We're out of South Houston here in Pearland.
Pearland, Texas.
Okay.
Yeah, so we have a lot of experience cooking in competition as far as chasing more smoke goes, but we kind of created this little podcast, and I think we're probably going to branch off and do probably a couple of these competitions. Really, just kind of put the experience out there to all the listeners and all that stuff like that. By the way, we're in our garage, and our garage pod and
John's flying over.
That is John flying over.
Southwest is flying over right now.
So
we're excited to get out there and give it a shout.
Yeah. One thing on this, and I know we're talking with, I can't remember his name right now. He's drawing a blank, but he used to be the president of the IBCA.
Craig Sherry.
Yep. Yes. So with Texas pepper jelly, right?
Texas, yeah.
And one of the things that he kind of brought up on the podcast was money is really driven a lot of these competitions and kind of where it's going and whatever else. What are the purses going to be like on some of these competitions, or if are there any?
Well, yeah, of course. I mean, we kind of do this for the money, to be honest with you. It's a hobby, but, the guys that do it every week are doing it for money, for recognition. But, the purses are really up to the promoters, the promoters that are promoting the event. We would, we obviously, the bigger the purse, the better, right? But, a lot of these cook-offs, you got to remember, are for charity or for a cause or something like that. So, they take a piece of it. But, I don't, it's something we as an organization may look at down the road, how we can get bigger purses, that sort of thing. But the money is up to the promoter,
Okay.
There's got to be
the more
sponsorship
money
as well.
And sponsorships and things like that. But the more money the cook-off has to give out, the bigger it's going to be, and the more money you get the next year and the next year, that kind of thing,
Oh, yeah.
The less money, people won't come.
Yeah, we believe the CBA is going to be a draw, not only for cooks to come out because they see it's a CBA, but the amount of sponsorships that we have already obtained and are on board with adding say purses to certain events or merchandise to certain events it's growing every day, and it's pretty exciting to see. So, it might be a lot of added money or merchandise to these cook-offs that we're able to promote.
Sure. And then also, does this feed into any other sanctioning body? Like, for example, I know that some of these cook-offs, we're talking with Craig, he went out and he had cooked at Houston a few times, or people get entries into
the Jack
Daniels, whatever. Yeah. So does any of this, hopefully I'm saying now, but one day, does that help feed into maybe another championship cook-off or something else?
Yes,
like a point system type thing.
There is some criteria you have to meet as a new sanctioning body to have cook-offs that qualify for the Royal and the Jack. I mean, anybody can get into the Houston Rodeo pretty much if you have enough money. But the Jack and the Royal are the two big ones where you have to qualify for. We have to meet some criteria as a new organization. I think it's 10 cook-offs of 50-plus teams in the first year, which we're expecting to have in the first 4 months.
It's 10 cook-offs over 15 teams. Yeah.
Is it over 15?
Yep, for the Royal, and 10 with 25 for the Jack.
25, okay, yeah. So, we think we'll be every cook-off we have that's over X amount of teams after those first 10 will be Jack qualifiers and Royal qualifiers.
Nice.
So how do you, can you approach a place that's already having a cook-off and come at them like for instance, like we do, VFW here has 2 a year. I mean, do you come up here to, promote, your new sanctioning body and stuff like that?
We're not trying to poach. We're not, I mean, we're putting it out there that we're, available to cook-offs.
Okay.
And they're running to us. We're not necessarily going out and trying to take anything away from anybody. And I don't think that's ever going to be our game plan. I think, is if we just get enough people talking, which I think is going to be easy enough, that they'll come to us and then we'll show them what we have. And if it's something we can help them out with, we'll certainly put our best foot forward.
Nice, man. Nice. That's awesome. Yeah, I guess
our motto sort of is, customer service, and the customer being the promoter and the cook. We want to make the experience good for the promoter and for the cook. So we're not just a sanctioning body who's just going to come and run your judging area. We are going to be with you pretty much the whole way. We'll help promote it. If we can put some of our sponsorships behind your event, if that's something we can work out, we plan to do that. We plan to make awards fun for the promoter, for the cooks, because we've all cooked all day, and we like to have a good time. I mean, that's what we're about. We're trying to make this fun again instead of all the other BS that goes on. That's the goal, and fun for everybody involved.
And we're also offering military and first responders a discount too as well.
Nice.
Okay. Love that.
Awesome.
That is super awesome. So, okay, take aside the sanctioning body and the CBA, which I know is really a big passion for y'all. What was the secret for y'all getting grand champion this last weekend?
We went all the tips.
And I've got my pocketbook out. So.
Yep.
We got reserved. We don't want to take grand. We got reserved.
Reserve, yes. Reserve grand champion. Well, are there any secrets or tips that you can put out just as a team that just got in the winner's circle, to anybody listening, trying to get in, trying to better their game in competition or anything else? Or if you want to give out the magic rub, to go ahead and do that as well.
I put all my rubs on our post. I mean, right now we're running nothing but Holy Smoke and Blazing Bone seasoning. So, I mean, they have great products right there. The combination is all up to you how you put them on there. I'm not exactly sure if I could repeat what I did last weekend, this weekend. But that's who we use. We use a lot of War Pig sauces.
Oh yeah, Dennis.
Yep, Dennis.
And I mean, I'll tell anybody this. IBCA is a tenderness contest. It's not necessarily a taste or appearance. It's a tenderness contest.
Yeah. And we use some of LC barbecue too. Phil Breeden, who y'all had on, we use some of his stuff too. It's all good there.
It is really good. Yeah, one thing we always
and-
preach is like consistency, but I mean, y'all are an experienced team. And how many guys do y'all have? Is this y'all two only on the team, or is there you have more than just y'all, or how does that work?
We actually have 3 Dirty Underwear Gang teams.
Okay.
I have 2 brothers that also cook probably 1 or 2 cook-offs a year each too. But then there's probably about 6 or 7 of us that try to make it every time we cook. But usually there's Seth and Jim and I at every competition at minimum.
Okay.
Yeah, we're just a bunch of guys that like to drink beer and hang out together. We've known each other for 30 years, and
We'll make it competitive.
and it's we like to win trophies and money and drink beer and hang out with each other. And that's how it all started, and the rest is history at this point, so to speak.
Who thought of the name?
Go ahead, Sean.
Or who had it? Who had them?
That was my brother's thinking. And once my brother gets something in his head, there's no getting it out of it. So we just finally laid over and let him have it. But it was an old Western gang that was called the Dirty Underwear Gang, and they're actually mentioned on Young Guns. Was it 1 or 2? I don't remember.
Young Guns 1.
They talk about the Dirty Underwear Gang, and that's where he heard it. So that's really kind of where we got it from.
And we walked or something like that, and we're like, shit, we got to keep it now.
Yeah, right. Can't change that. Okay.
We got champion our very first cook-off. So,
You're like, damn it, we got to keep this name now. And it's been good to us.
That's super cool.
And you said shit, so there's no pun intended in that.
Right. Right. Yeah, it's funny. We started, and I don't know how long y'all been doing the competition cooking for. But when we started, I think we ran a couple of different names. We were always running a different. It's like we would enter. Back in the day, they had these Calcuttas, right? So you would enter this cook-off, and depending if you were a team that was really known to win, when your team name came up for the Calcutta, which is like an auction, people would buy your. Basically, it gave away for.
I know where you're going with this, and that's very smart.
Right? So we would change our name all the time because it got to the point where you couldn't buy your team. Right? When your team goes for $600-700 to buy, right, and you're like, okay, well, we're going with a different name this week. So we always kind of changed it around a little bit, and we had it at Double J Cookers for a while, and then. We Sean and I and James kind of got together. Sean was running the Chasing More Smoke team name, and our last names are Moore. His last name is Moore, so it just kind of really fit. And we're like, let's just, he's like, hey, we're cooking the same cookos all the time. Let's just merge into one team. So we did, and it blew up. It was just like we had like 14, 15 people, maybe sometimes higher than that. Plus, you've got wives and everything else cooking. We had 3 teams. We had tents. We had DJs. I mean, it was just
it gotta have a hand.
It was nice, right? It got
It was fun though.
We had TX Whiskey as sponsorships, but really trying to get in the winner's circle and win. Which I will say, Chasing More Smoke is really focused on the last probably year and a half, 2 years, and this year as well, right? Really focused on really getting in the winner's circle, which to me takes just. Trying to taking a back seat to the party a little bit and just really
self-control.
Yeah, consistency. Have y'all seen that for y'all as far as y'all's career in barbecue? And
your story is kind of the same trajectory that we were on. I mean, we've been doing this a long time. I mean, a long time since we were 23 years old. Me and Sean started. But it was all party all the time. We got a call here, there. We won our first cook-off, but it was a little cook-off. It was, like you said, Jell-O shots and DJs and tents. And it's finally, Sean kind of was like, hey, if we're going to do this, might as well be good at it. And that was probably about 5 years ago where it was like, hey, let's be good at it. We can still have a good time, but let's be good at it. And we kind of changed our mentality a little bit, and like I said, we still have a good time. But when it's Saturday and it's time to cook, we're concentrating. We're still drinking some beers, but we're concentrating because the end game is to get those big checks and those trophies. Because then the party goes on for a little bit longer afterwards, kind of thing.
That's right. That's right.
You know.
Yeah, when it really comes down to, I mean, and a lot of these teams are using probably a lot of the similar products as far as the rubs,
absolutely,
as far as the injections and the barbecue sauces and all that stuff like that. So, and there's probably people mixing different ratios or adding a little this to that. But a lot of times it really comes down to the process. Can you stick to your guides? Know when you start your pit, know when you get your meat on, know when to take it off, all that. If you stick to your guns, so to speak, and everything just kind of comes out great. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yep. Maybe. I mean, that's it. And to your point, everybody is using the same stuff, you know, the same rubs, sauces, injections. And Sean's point earlier, when you're cooking an IBCA event, which is most of them around here, it's about tenderness. I mean, because the taste is going to be relatively close on everything that the judges are tasting, unless you're putting something crazy on it. It comes down to tenderness, and that goes to your point of making sure your processes are the same. You know, you're doing the same thing over and over again, repetitive, you know.
What are you guys cooking on?
Go ahead, Sean.
Yeah. I have a homemade gravity fed pit, and we also cook on a barrel.
Okay.
Both homemade.
What are your thoughts on Traegers and electric pits as far as
pellets
the competition?
I have them in my house. They're good. I don't think you quite get all the smoky flavor in there that you would need for competition in some of your bigger meats. But for chicken and ribs, I think that a lot of people win with using those pits.
Yeah, it's so easy just to turn it on and work it from the Wi-Fi of your phone, right?
Yeah.
You know, oh, we need to add more pellets. Let's get I'm just kidding.
All my pits are hooked up to an electronic device too. So I mean, I can't really make fun of Traeger.
No, I get it.
I'm hooked up to an electronic device, so I can't say much about a barbecue pit. You know,
one less thing you have to worry about is makes it that much easier out there and more consistent.
I would agree.
Yeah, we always love to, and not really necessarily poke fun, but I mean, we always make light of the whole situation. But the reality is, we all use Traegers. We all use things that make it a little bit easier on us because, let's face it, sometimes we just want to get a little extra sleep. I mean,
that's right. Yeah.
I mean, it'd be nice to sit there and just feed a offset smoker for 14 hours and just not get any sleep. I'm being facetious, of course, but
right,
yeah,
sure.
So you know that
there's you'd be hard pressed to find anybody that doesn't have some sort of an electronic component on their pits, whether it be a fan or something like that. I mean, it's what it is at this point in time. I mean, it's that's the name of the game these days, you know.
Sure. It is. Yeah, the barbecue gurus, right? That's a big thing that people, you know, put onto their fireboxes and everything to maintain that heat, and you know, you're not having to add a whole bunch of wood and whatever else. So we're not rich enough to have one of those. A couple $100 probably to order one. So we're the guys that get up at 2:00 in the morning or 1:00 in the morning, and we just feed the beast, you know, for 14 hours.
We just give Alden Bud Lights, and he just sits there and
there you go.
Hands the fire.
Speaking of that, man, I'm actually curious, you know, because you know when all the pellet smokers were coming out and stuff like that, you know, they were within the rules, you know, because it was wood burning, correct? Was there anything or fire? You know, was there ever any time where you guys were like, you know, and knowing you guys like to use Traegers and stuff like that, was there ever a time where you're like, you know what, or is there a sanctioning body that would ever say, you know what, we're taking electricity out, you just have to use actual wood and actually burn it and stuff like that? I mean, did it ever cross you guys' mind?
I think the only sanctioning body that they were illegal at first in was Texas Gulf Coast. But it didn't last very long. Once they found out that they thought it was running off, they thought it was the electricity was producing the heat. But anybody that's ever taken apart a pellet grill because their igniter's gone out realizes that it actually is a fire inside of that pit.
Yes,
it's just being fed by an auger, and it has an automatic igniter on there. But once the dynamics of how they work were put out there, then they were just pretty much legal everywhere.
Yeah, still wood burning for sure. So
That's right.
So wood burning. So Traeger ain't going anywhere, or pellet
You know,
smoking. None of that
we
stuff
used to
going
make fun of the guys too. You know, you gotta use
Sure.
electricity. All poke fun at them, but once you cook on one, you kind of don't ever want to cook on anything else.
Yeah.
I mean, especially at the house.
You get beat by someone on a Traeger, you're like, dang it.
Yeah, what's wrong with me?
Yeah.
Yeah. So something else that we probably will put off on a future one, but just kind of get your thoughts on this. Kind of seeing, because just y'all have been in the game for a while. Kind of seeing the evolution of barbecue, and I remember back in the day that you had to have something spicy, a spicy brisket, or the brisket to me has changed over the years. And now I'm starting to see these brisket glazes, right? So everybody's kind of glazing or putting a glaze on the brisket and whatever else.
Sweet, savory.
Yeah, what are your thoughts on that? Is that something y'all have kind of looked at doing or have done at home but not really done in the competition world, or have you done something that way?
We've been saucing briskets for the last 6-7 years.
Have you?
Yeah. It changes from how cooked on do they want it? Do they want it where it looks like it's just part of the bark, or do they actually want it looking like barbecue sauce? That's what changes more than anything else is how the judges are receiving
the product,
how you apply it and how you cook it on.
Right. And then with that having, was that something that you kind of saw on the KCBS side as well? Is that something that you?
We were IBCA way before we even thought about going to KCBS.
Yeah.
Okay.
We've only been competing in KCBS since 2018.
And one thing to think about is it's one bite, right? So those glazes and those sauces, they only get one bite, and you want to put as much flavor in that one bite as you possibly can. So you were talking about, how does it change? I'll tell you what's changed to me, which I never thought I'd see, is injecting meats like a brisket or ribs. And that's a big thing now. And, you almost can't win if you don't. But it changes the flavor because, you get one bite and you want to make sure they're getting enough of the flavor, your flavor profile in that one bite.
I was talking to Poe Paul a couple of years back, and he was kind of going over how everything's changed in the last 10 years, and he pinpointed. He said it's barbecue pitmasters that changed everything. He's like, before barbecue pitmasters, nobody sauced anything. After that, if you weren't saucing, you weren't walking.
Right. It's something for me. I've talked about this probably the last 4 or 5 years, to be honest with you. It's something that I have not gotten on board with, and maybe my palate it's not there. And again, I'm not cooking for my palate. I'm cooking for the judge's palate and what's winning. But
Right.
I have a hard time with it sometimes. And it's like pairing a barbecue, a sweet or just a barbecue sauce with brisket. Sometimes I'm like, man, let the meat just stand on its own a little bit. It doesn't need the barbecue sauce. But when I go to a barbecue restaurant, order chopped beef, baked potato, I'm like, yeah, put barbecue sauce on it right now. I want some. You know what I mean? So It's kind of one of those twofold things. And then something else to think about is people at home are judging this stuff. So they're people off the street. So they may like sauce on their brisket and whatever else. So it's
On
like
everything.
What? Yeah.
On everything.
So what are they doing? It's like putting ketchup on a $100 ribeye. Some people just like ketchup. So it's like
It's a little
Steak
different,
sauce.
but
well, you say that, but Patrick Mahomes is putting a gallon of ketchup on a steak.
that's true.
It comes down to one bite barbecue. You just got to pack as much flavor in there as possible, and if sauce is going to be the thing that puts you over the edge, then that's what you need to do.
Right.
Yeah, I mean,
Right.
at the end of the day, you're trying to win. It's not about what you like. It's about. I love our food. It's delicious. When we cook at home, we cook it a little bit different. But it's you got to just remember, it's not about what you like. It's about what's going to put you in that winner's circle.
Yep.
For sure,
I
man.
agree.
That kind of brings my next question is, is there anything out there that, we haven't heard of about, the new sanctioned body that, you guys maybe want to share with us?
Well, go first.
The pork's the biggest news on there. Something else that's going to be Seth had kind of touched on it earlier that there's not going to be any paper in the judging room. Each judge is going to have his own tablet that is provided by the CBA. As soon as they check in, they are handed a tablet, and that tablet randomly seats them. So whenever if you come in with it's you and your wife are coming in, the judge, you're 99% of the time you're not going to be sitting next to each other. It's going to randomly put you on different tables, and then as the cooks check in their boxes, the boxes are scanned in, and then they're randomly put at different tables as well. So it doesn't matter who you turn. You don't want to turn in next to. I'm just throwing a name out there, Craig Sherry, because you just don't want to cook against him. It doesn't matter because it's going to be randomly put out there. It's going to be kind of cutting edge things that people haven't done in the past, and it's just going to make it more fair for the cooks, where they don't have to worry about where their box lands.
Yeah, go ahead.
I would say that's a fantastic idea, and I don't need to say that to let you know it is. But one thing that I always worried about is being the first one to turn in, right? Back in the day, nobody wanted to be number one, and nobody wanted to be the very last one either. You want to be somewhere towards, because once they start stacking those boxes, it's almost like the very first one is the very last one to go out. You know what I mean? If that makes sense.
Yeah, and the idea here is that you want to avoid. We're trying to avoid the table of death and the table of angels, so to speak, to where if you have Fred Robles and Phil Breeden and Craig Sherry all on one table, that's a tough table to be on, right? Now you can still randomly get on a table with those three guys, but I'll tell you at the Royal, we turned in a pork box and it was on the same table as Tuffy Stone. And you're like, oh shit, that's a barbecue Hall of Famer I'm turning in next to, and you start to think to yourself, man, I'm probably not going to win that table. Here, it's all random. The things we're doing are cutting edge.
We did beat him on that table.
Yeah, we did beat him on that table. Thank you. But the cutting edge is even from when we give the cooks their boxes, they're going to scan their boxes. We're not going to know any of the numbers or anything like that, so you can avoid the whole, hey, you knew my number and probably screwed me over here. Our whole goal is transparency, integrity in the judging. You're not going to have those questions that come from other sanctioning bodies and other events. You're going to know when you cook one of our events that it was above board the whole way. Just because it's all blind. I mean, hell, even the head judges don't know a lot of the things. They're just scanning QR codes for the most part. So that's the goal for us.
That is very cool, guys. This is like literally, I am really excited to go out to one, just see how the whole process of this. I really feel like y'all are on the right track for a reason, right? Y'all been doing this for a long time, so.
For sure. Been looking awesome. Forward to this podcast, man. Just to really take in, what's actually going on and stuff like that. Get rid of speculation and shit like that. But I like it.
Yeah, and to be honest with you, when we started, it was just for fun. Like at the Texas BBQ Society, and it kind of went rolling. And then when you have someone like Fred Robles and Roddy Trevino reach out to you and say, "Hey, let's join forces," and then they tell us they have. Aaron Leslie with Texas Oil Dust. They have Blues Hogs. They have, Chupacabra. All these things that are behind this. This is almost destined to not fail. I mean, there's no way it can fail just because of the hard work that's gone into it, the people behind it. I mean, it is going to be special, and it is going to change Texas barbecue for sure. But in the coming years, this is going to be one of those things where. We're talking about KCBS as the second place sanctioning body. CBA is now the big on the barbecue map.
Nice. I love it. I mean, here at Grabbing the Brisket, we are fans of it now.
Awesome.
So we're looking forward to competing in our first event. Let me ask you this before we let you guys go. I know we're running a little late on time, but let me ask you this, and I know maybe John has reached out to you guys. So we always have a standing question with all our guests that we ask them towards the end, and it has to do with barbecue fails, and it's kind of something that we ask, and it's always something that's kind of either a funny moment or a horrible moment, or usually it's just something that we always learn. We always put our fails out there because, trust me, none of us are perfect. We always have mishaps, and we always maybe burn something or maybe burn the house down or a garage or something like that. But thank God not us, but we've had some listeners have had some pretty horrible times. So anything that comes to the mind to you guys want to share, or just maybe just like a bad just turn in for your competition? I don't know.
Younger days, I'm thinking of one right now. In our younger days, we sent my younger brother to the Cooks meeting, and he came back with a long turn one time. We had to do the walk of shame back with a bunch of kids.
Yeah, we turned chicken in not too long ago in a smaller box, and I actually had to run. First time I ran at a cook-off to get back to the trailer in the right box, and got back with like 5 seconds to spare. It's kind of embarrassing. We've been doing this for a long time. We fit 2 big ass chickens in a small rib box, though.
We all sat there and looked at it, and we were like, God, we gotta start buying smaller birds.
Yeah, this ain't right. Yeah.
Why won't it fit? Just squeeze it in there.
How big is a chicken?
And I have one that is. I was cooking with my father-in-law at a wild game cook-off, and I'm going to say this: we cooked kangaroo. Don't ever cook kangaroo. It is disgusting. There's no way to make it good. And that was one that I'll never forget.
That's fantastic. Yeah. Don't ever cook kangaroo.
Yeah, we had Jess Prowls on not too long ago, and she mentioned, or actually we reached out to her because we had questions about kangaroo, and there's not really a great way of cooking. I mean, I think you have to braise it. I think you have to like slow cook it. I don't even know how you would
slow cooked it, and it was disgusting.
I don't want it.
But it was a wild game cook-off, and we were trying something different, and never again.
Right.
Hey, Seth, Sean, hey, we definitely appreciate you guys taking time out of your schedule to talk a little barbecue with us. We definitely hope we can maybe get you guys back on here in the next month or two once these cook-offs start flowing. And hopefully we can be out and about in the wild and meet up with you guys and definitely barbecue together.
Yeah, keep your eyes peeled to our Facebook page, the Champions BBQ Alliance. The web page should be out here the next week or so, next week to 10 days. And as soon as we get past this next test, there's going to be events starting to pop up on there, and I'll make sure I'll reach out to you guys just to keep you guys in the loop.
Yes, sir.
For sure, man.
It.
Very cool,
Perfect.
guys. Thank y'all so much.
Hey,
we wish you the
thanks a
best.
lot, guys.
Appreciate it,
All
guys.
right. Yeah, have a good one.
What an awesome interview. Love those guys.
A lot of energy there.
Love those guys.
Man, that was
was
really
a great,
cool.
yeah, it was awesome.
Very cool. I think that I think there's definitely some high points in there. I think there's things that people are takeaways. People are like, oh my God, I didn't know this is happening.
Very informative.
It is.
For one.
Yeah. I wish that maybe we'll tag IBCA in this like listen to the podcast, guys.
I don't think we want to.
No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
We're not doing that.
Yeah. This is not your father's IBCA.
Right.
This is the new up and coming.
This is not your father's cook-off.
Which is going to be the Champion BBQ Alliance.
That's right. CBA.
CBA.
Yes. Not CBD. Okay.
Not to be confused
All
with
of you hemp,
the oils.
All you hemp people out there, this is the CBA. So, very cool stuff. And you know what? These two guys, down to earth, great idea that they had, and you know, teaming up the way they did, and then getting this whole thing going. I think it's pretty badass. So,
yeah, no, I certainly agree. Yeah.
I couldn't agree anymore, man. Like you say, down to earth. I mean, they don't hold any information back. You know what I mean? There's no secrets of what they're doing. I think it's cool, man. I think it's going to help, novice cookers because they're going to know where they're at, and I think novice cookers should know where they're at.
Yeah. And experienced cookers.
Oh, for sure. And experienced cookers, because there may be a time where there's a novice cooker at 11 and the experienced cooker's at 95.
Yeah. There's plenty of times where, let's face it, every time you cook, you're like, I feel like that's top 3, right?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, and then all your friends try it, and they're like, oh, this is the best I've ever had.
This is the best I've ever had.
And then you go to judging, you're like, wrong.
Nothing.
Right.
Well, now you're going to take that piece of meat, you're going to go take your friend with you that just said that, and you're going to take your last place call, say, "Is this still the best piece of fucking meat I've ever had, or you've ever had?"
Yeah,
Hey,
You shithead!
You know what?
You
You
don't
tell
lie to
that-
me no more.
You tell that judge. You tell him that this was the best piece of meat you had.
Right. I love it.
Now we don't have to experience any of that. Now we
This is true.
actually know what score you get. And it's awesome. Maybe it's not tender enough. Flavor 10. What was the other judging? It was flavor, tenderness,
It's still presentation. with
presentation,
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think presentation was one of them.
flavor,
Yeah.
tenderness, taste.
Maybe. Yeah.
How is flavor different than taste?
Yeah. Let's the same.
It's two different taste buds in your mouth, Matt. If you haven't experienced that.
It could have been
then you just- I'm
appearance.
just kidding.
It could have been appearance. It could have been whatever.
But
right?
it's nice to know that you know where you fall in. You get this score, and you're like, okay, well, I really tanked on the tenderness, which to be expected because I really couldn't gnaw this rib off the bone. So
This rock really hurt my fucking teeth.
exactly, yeah.
yeah.
I joined here at the ass end of that interview.
Hey,
but-
welcome, Matt.
Hey,
What's up, homie?
Scouts are over. I'm here. But I like the idea that they were talking about where they're not just there to be judges. Like, they're there to, like, support the event and everything. So I think that's awesome. I can't wait to see the way it's going to play out.
Yeah. Sounds like the next couple of months they're just going to start firing up events, or maybe it was like March,
Yeah.
I
Probably
think
after
March.
March.
end of February. They're going to start firing up
Consensus
events.
seems like
So
March, yeah.
great. We're looking forward to all
Yeah.
the new events that are coming out. Hopefully they tag us, and I'm sure we'll probably see some of these events pop up with Chase More Smoke. I'm sure they're going to be doing a bunch of these type events.
Ice cold cookers will be
Ice
there.
cold cookers.
Yeah.
So we're excited. We're stoked where the future is gonna to be with these guys. So we're glad to be kind of a little part of it. I feel like we're a little bit of a part of it since they've been on the
Yeah.
Grab the
Yeah,
Brisket
they're,
podcast.
they're dragging us along with
They
them,
are. I
so-
mean, they're like, hey guys, come on.
I feel like we're charter members.
We're not a
That's what I
big
think.
weight, I don't think, but they're dragging us with them.
Nice. So hey, we appreciate it, guys. Thank you for listening to the Grabbing the Brisket podcast. So Alden, hit them up with the business where these people can get a hold of us at.
Man, you guys already know what I got to keep telling you. So hit us up on the website. You can find everything you want to see there. It's www.grabthebrisket.com. If you just want to email, you can grabbingthebrisket@gmail.com. You can hit us up on Instagram and Twitter, Facebook. Just at Grab the Brisket would be Twitter. Facebook and Instagram are both one and the same. It is at Grab 'em in the Brisket. And just leave us, good comments, bad comments, indifferent comments. We love them all. We will respond to you. We can't respond to all of our 25 million followers, but we will respond to all 14 of you. So just let us know if you guys have any questions, and we'll get back to you.
Well said.
Yeah.
Just go to the website.
That's it.
I love it.
That's where you get us. Appreciate it, guys.
That's where I go and guess out this gear you bought, or
That's
I
right.
bought for you. Look, see.
Yeah.
We appreciate you guys listening.
We do appreciate it.
We're shutting this thing down.
Oh, is that a question or a statement?
I feel like I was going to say
I'm Ron Burgundy.
we appreciate you guys listening, and then all you guys around the table are like, all right, guys, bye, later.
Yeah. No, we thought you were going to say something different.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
my bad.
So we definitely appreciate the time y'all spent listening to us.
Peace out.
Have a great week.
Go to the website and tell me how that sounded.
Let's
and we'll
talk
respond to it.
barbecue later.
Thanks, everybody. We've been great.
Dang it, Bobby. Just grab the brisket. Thanks for listening, guys. Special thanks to our sponsors, Jealous Devil Charcoal, Getty, CoolieNation, Cambro Manufacturing, Texas Brew Hopper, Smoke Sheet, and Fiesta Spices. For more information on those companies, please check out our website at grabbingthebrisket.com.